It started as a joke. Emily had always been the kind of person who loved quirky, eccentric things. So when she stumbled across an old chipped porcelain doll on eBay labeled as haunted, do not buy, she thought, why not? With a goofy grin, she hit buy now and teased her friends, saying the doll would become the cursed protector of her living room. When the package arrived, a few days later, she was actually surprised by how eerie the doll looked in person. Its cloudy, glassy eyes seemed to follow her wherever she went, and its once pink dress was faded and torn, giving it an unsettling, abandoned vibe. Her roommates were suitably freaked out. "Emily, that thing shouldn't even be in this house," her friend Sarah said, taking one look at it. Emily laughed it off. "Relax, it's just a doll. They probably put the haunted thing in the description to jack up the price." But that night, things started to feel. It began subtly. A strange chill lingered in the air, despite it being the middle of July. Emily put the doll on a shelf in the living room, but every time she passed by, she could swear it was looking slightly to the left or the right. "Probably just my imagination," she muttered. That was the first night she heard the tapping. At 3:12 a.m., Emily woke up to the faint sound of knocking, slow, deliberate. It seemed to be coming from the living room. Groggy but annoyed, she shuffled out of bed, expecting to find Sarah playing some sort of prank. But the room was empty, just her, the doll, and that oppressive silence that made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. The tapping wasn't the end of it. Over the next few nights, the disturbances escalated. Furniture would inexplicably shift an inch or two. Lights flickered despite functioning bulbs. Sarah insisted she heard whispers at night, faint murmurs in a language she couldn't understand. And then there was the smell, an earthy, decaying stench that seemed to come and go without any clear source. Emily's denial turned into dread when she woke one morning to find the doll on her dresser. It had been on the shelf in the living room the night before. At first, she thought someone was messing with her. "All right, who moved it?" she demanded at breakfast, her voice sharp with panic. But her roommates swore they hadn't touched it. By the end of the week, everyone was sleep-deprived and terrified. Sarah refused to even look at the doll anymore, claiming she could feel it watching her. Finally, in desperation, Emily decided to get rid of it. She wrapped it tightly in a blanket, placed it in a box, and drove to the nearest thrift shop, dumping it by the donation door. But that night, as she crawled into bed, her blood froze. There it was, sitting on her nightstand. No one knew how it had returned, and no one wanted to know. Emily started researching the doll's eBay seller and found only a cryptic profile with no contact information. But deeper digging led her to forums discussing haunted objects and a chilling forum thread about a doll that looked exactly like hers. The post described it as a vessel for a malevolent spirit that attached itself to whoever welcomed it. And even worse, getting rid of the doll wouldn't remove its presence. If anything, it enraged the entity. Emily was now desperate. She reached out to paranormal experts, cleansing the house with sage, salt, and prayers. But no matter what she tried, the events continued. Her pets wouldn't go near her. Sarah moved out, and Emily herself started waking up in places she didn't remember going, with scratch marks down her arms. One night, Emily uploaded her own eBay listing, mirroring the one she had first seen. Disclaimer: haunted doll, do not buy. And within hours, someone did. She shipped it off immediately, not caring who the buyer was, just relieved it was gone. But here's the thing about haunted objects. They may leave your hands, but they never truly go away. So the next time you're scrolling through eBay, tempted by a strange antique with a creepy backstory, ask yourself, is it worth the risk? After all, this doll might have left Emily's life, but it certainly found a new one. Perhaps